Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Backlash 2018 preview and predictions video. What is there really to talk about with this pay-per-view coming up tomorrow? Is there really anything worth talking about? Is it all that exciting? Not really. I'm going to be watching this pay-per-view. I'm going to be observing what happens. But am I expecting this show to be at all entertaining whatsoever? Probably not. I am at this point completely 100% against WWE content and WWE programming in a nutshell. Why I still have WWE Network? Real simple, guys. I enjoy watching the old school wrestling content that they used to have. They used to have the Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Stone Colds, Triple H, Rob Van Dam. They had Chris Jericho at the time when he had his long hair and he was a top-notch guy and he actually wasn't fucking overweight. I'm not going to say he's overweight, but he has a little pudgy belly now. We had Kurt Angle when he had hair still. We had the Batistas. We had the Randy Ortons and the Rocks and the John Cenas when they were in their prime. Jeff Hardy before he was getting off drugs, actually. He was more exciting than he is now. But what have you, whatever. The point being is there is no build towards these shows anymore. We get 4 weeks of unadulterated pure garbage Monday and Tuesday night. NXT is a freaking breath of fresh air. Even when it's at its worst, it still produces better than WWE's main roster programming. But there is one thing that keeps my interest going and wanting to still even watch these pathetic events. And that's the talent that performs within WWE. They have one of the elite talent in the world at this time than they ever had before. So it makes it fun and entertaining for that reason alone to watch these events, at least pay-per-view wise. Watching these week-to-week shows is absolute waste of fucking time. To be honest with you, I think that WWE needs to get rid of week-to-week shows and just have pay-per-view quality events every once in a while and give these guys a fucking rest, for God's sakes. Let their bodies heal. Let them be able to go out and produce a really good match one night or every couple of nights throughout the week. Give these guys a moment to breathe. Let them have a time to recuperate from their injuries. Let them be able to have less travel time. Let them be able to spend time with their families. These guys deserve it. They earned it. They bust their ass week in and week out for this company. This man makes these guys work 7 days a week. Live television, live events when it's not even being televised. It is downright to the point exhausting and annoying for them most of all. Personally, I think these guys don't give a flying fuck about their career in WWE except for the money because of the fact their hands are tied. They can't do what they normally would do if they were in the independent wrestling circuit. But they make enough money. They make good amount of money to always be able to take care of their family, and that's what matters to them most. And in that aspect, from their standpoint alone, I have nothing against that. But honestly, I think there needs to be a revolution involved within that company. There needs to be a major change in those talent wrestlers that have to go out every single night and produce for that old bag of shit, Vince McMahon. They need to go ahead and start standing up for what they do. Because without them, Vince McMahon has no money. Vince McMahon has no way to make a show. He has no life. Because WWE is his life. That's why he is yet to retire at the 8th. I mean, let me look up real quick how old Vince McMahon is. I believe he's probably in his mid-70s by now. I'm pretty sure of it. But let me look this up real quick. Vince McMahon is 72 years old. He is 72 years old. And he's still running a fucking multi-billion-dollar company. Where in the hell does he need to be running anything? Honestly, this is dumbfounding to me. You're 72 years old. I just saw on his net worth grossing, or net worth, he's $1.9 billion. That's what he's worth. He is loaded with lots of money. He will be able to live prosperously for the rest of his old age. Why does he need to do this? Give this show, give WWE to Triple H. He believes in wrestling. He believes in the word wrestling. He gives these guys the ability to go out and produce and give their heart and soul into their matches. Vince McMahon does not. Vince McMahon doesn't believe in the word wrestling. He don't believe in the company he's running, but he's running it. And to me, that spells disaster. That's why wrestling for WWE sucks. It's not the company, it's not the talent, it's not even the writers, for that matter. But I probably think the writers don't care either, because their heart isn't involved or into wrestling. Their whole idea is make a paycheck. And Vince McMahon can provide that to them. Make some foolish show, throw some bullshit out, there you go. Easy storyline writing, the wrestlers do most of the work, they're told exactly what they can do in the ring, they're held down from what they can and cannot do in the ring for the idea of protecting them from themselves and getting themselves getting a super injury. Well, here's an idea, assholes. Have less shows. More doesn't always mean better. Have less. Have a show once a week. I mean, shit, don't you get tired of fucking having more work to do and produce more content? That's what the WWE Network's for. You use all the network programming that you have so that you can give your guys time to rest. You want to entertain your crowd? You got millions of people that love watching wrestling so much, like myself. Have a wrestling fucking program where you can watch old school wrestling shown on the live portion of your network. Give people a reason to want to tune into the live stuff that you produce on your network programming. It's not that hard. I mean, kids don't even know probably most kids don't even know who fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin is. He was one of the greatest performers in wrestling. Bret the Hitman Hart, another great wrestler. I never liked him personally, but as a performer, he was awesome. Shawn Michaels, another guy that probably most people have not seen, that are like 12 years, probably even more than that. Probably people that are 16 years old on down probably have never seen Shawn Michaels actually perform live in a ring. I mean, you got so much content on this fucking program, you could use it to your advantage and give the fans something to watch and allow these guys to recuperate so that you can get them to produce a better show. So their bodies aren't banged up, so they can see their families. You give people reason to tune into the network, they're going to go ahead and, eventually they're going to go to these shows. They know the talent that's in the ring these days are fucking unbelievable, and they are. So let them showcase their talents. If that means what they do is dangerous, have them wrestle less. What's so difficult? Oh, you're afraid to lose your ticket sales so you can do every day, 7 days a week? Get machines to do it. I mean, like, what the fuck are we watching these days? And the crowd, honestly, I honestly don't see the crowd all emotionally invested. If you watch something that happened back in 2000 with WWE wrestling, if you see something that happened in 2000 back in WWE wrestling, you actually had a crowd emotionally invested in what was going on in that ring. You had people that were interested in what you were doing, what your performers were saying. People actually were entertained. I don't hear people entertained in these crowds anymore. They're not. They sit there on their hands. They don't chant hardly at all. They chant for the most meaningless bullshit I've ever seen. Their fans are stupid as hell. They've dumbfounded everything to morons. So idiot people can only appreciate his shit. He's taken all the people that love wrestling and love his program and turned it into garbage. And that's what we got. But that's just my overall rant. I don't know how long I went on. Maybe it went on for like 10, 15 minutes probably. Maybe even 20. Who the fuck knows? Who really fucking cares? And who really gives a fuck about this pay-per-view? I don't even understand why I'm even giving you a preview and prediction video, but I'm gonna fucking give it to you anyway. So here we go. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. Where is there any build here? What did they do? What was their interactions? Why isn't Braun Strowman at all just off the card, or maybe cutting a promo during this event tomorrow night to jumpstart his career towards the Universal title to face Brock Lesnar one-on-one for the second time? Why aren't we getting that? We're still getting Roman Reigns bitching and moaning, saying, I'm not making excuses, but the referee was incorrect about the loss and I'm the real Universal Champion. No, you're not. If you were, the ruling in that match would have been, you're the fucking winner, dumbass. You're not. You're shit. And you've been shit from the moment you left the Shield and went on your own. And the reason why is because all you do is what Brock Lesnar does. 2 fucking moves, and that's it. And a couple of punches here and there. You have no fucking variety to your moveset, pal. Get some. Or get lost. People don't care. Also, you do not portray a very good guy. You don't portray a good face at all. When I see Roman Reigns, I see a Batista. A douchebag Batista. A guy who don't give a fuck about nothing but himself. That's what I see Roman Reigns as. I see Roman Reigns as a dick. That's all there is to it. That's why Roman Reigns facing Samoa Joe is absolute garbage. Why Roman Reigns has to face Samoa Joe when Samoa Joe is on SmackDown while he's on Raw makes no sense to me whatsoever. That whole match should have been totally disbanded, but in all honesty, this draft thing should have never happened. This shakeup should have happened after this pay-per-view. Or before it. It should have happened... Really, here's how the order should have been. Shakeup, Greatest Royal Rumble, or Backlash, and then whichever pay-per-view didn't show up then. And here's the other thing. The Greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view, if it was going to be made on April 27th, then Backlash should have been postponed to the end of May. not the beginning of May. There is no reason whatsoever that this should have happened. There should have been an actual build going into Backlash altogether. Greatest Royal Rumble should have just been something else on the side, like a Rebellion or what's that other UK event that used to happen all the time? You get what I mean. Like a Rebellion show or Insurrection. That's the other one they used to have in UK every year. They'd have Insurrection in May, and they'd have Rebellion in November. That's what they used to do, and they'd have it on a Saturday night, and it wasn't publicized or thrown out to the public about that event. It was just done and over with, and we move on. That's what should have happened here. It should have just been announced, Greatest Royal Rumble event, happening on the network. Have a good time enjoying and watching the event. There you go. That's it. And that's all that should have been done. For the remainder of the time, it should have just been Backlash, Backlash, Backlash. That's all they should have been doing. Or if they wanted to hype the Greatest Royal Rumble into this pay-per-view type quality event, which basically that's what they did. They made it 5 fucking hours as long as WrestleMania. And they should have treated it as such and make the fucking Backlash pay-per-view postponed or happen before the Greatest Royal Rumble. That's all they needed to do. They couldn't do that.
Okay, that's it.
So that's the whole gist about this. Excuse this noise that's about to happen in the background. Our alarm system is acting fucked up, so we gotta fix it. But while I go ahead and do this, hopefully it does not enter or get too loud. Alright. Okay, so Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Who do I think is going to win that match? Sorry about the technical difficulties we're having here. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Who do I think is going to win? I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn should win this match. I think these two guys are legit tag team partners. I think they should be pushed in the tag team division. It gives them a moment to be able to have some place to fit within the company and have them in a storyline that works best for them. Because they were doing a lot of tag team action on SmackDown during the time. It also gives Sami Zayn, most of all, a opportunity to have a reason to be on the program. Single-wise, I don't see Sami Zayn making it on his own. He'll be pretty much floating around and being in limbo within the WWE creative writing. So having him tag team with Kevin Owens would be a good thing. Ideas of ways to get Kevin Owens back in the world title picture, I think it's going to take a little while. But I think it's possible. And I really think that they could push him in the eyes of, like, the WWE audience of being a threat towards the Universal Championship again by, if they do a good enough job with him, making him win the Royal Rumble, but making him believable leading up to the Royal Rumble for him to actually win it and give him more reason to be the Royal Rumble winner. But yeah, I think that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn should walk away winners of this match. Now, in reality, do I believe that's going to happen? Probably not. It's either going to be Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman winning this match hands down, or it's going to be by disqualification that Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley win, because they're going to just probably cheat their way out of this and beat the living shit out of them. Daniel Bryan, Big Cass, one-on-one. Alright, let me just put it in terms for all of you guys to understand. This build was pretty okay from the get-go. Its reason was a little lame, it's kind of cheesy, and really not all that exciting for the reason they were putting this match together to begin with. But it was better than what they ended up on the Go Home show on SmackDown. When I watched that Go Home show on SmackDown and I saw this segment with Big Cass and the midget Daniel Bryan, I turned off my television and that was the end of the fucking show for me. I think it was absolute trash. I don't think that this should have even occurred. This has been done on multiple occasions, and usually it was most of the time done to be funny. Big Cass was not at all funny, humorous, or entertaining. Quite frankly, he didn't look like he was having a good time doing this segment at all. He just looked like he wanted to get it over and done with and move on. I don't particularly he actually enjoyed doing anything what he did. There was no enthusiasm. There was no entertaining value coming out of him. There was no heart into this like he did the week before that. He did a very good portion in the Royal Rumble with Daniel Bryan that made me feel invested in it because of what they did during the Royal Rumble match itself. Daniel Bryan was producing very well in this match. He actually was the center stage outside of Braun Strowman. And Big Cass eliminated him, leaving him and Braun Strowman as the last two guys left. And that, to me, gives more quality and more reason for people to get invested in this because of the fact it was a big monumental moment within WWE to actually have an event going on in a foreign country like Saudi Arabia. So for them to be able to do that, and it kind of, in my mind, in a way, it's like the value of a Royal Rumble, only it's not. It's just a side thing that's not considered as among the other regular Royal Rumbles that have happened in the past. But it was still noteworthy to put in there, and it helped build somewhat of a storyline, giving reason for Daniel Bryan to retaliate and want to get back at Big Cass for what he did, to taking away a moment in his career where he could have been number one in a 50-man battle, a 50-man Royal Rumble that probably will never happen again. Daniel Bryan almost had the opportunity to do something that nobody can ever say they did. Win the Royal Rumble and be the first entrant in the Royal Rumble to do it. That was a big factor that played a very good, vital reason for them to actually build towards this. And if they would have postponed this Backlash event to the end of May, instead of now, tomorrow, that would have given this more of a reason for them to have Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan one-on-one. It would have been a great storyline. It would have helped build towards the reason why these two guys are actually having a match, instead of just Big Cass saying, oh, it's because Daniel Bryan got healed from his injuries that he's been dealing with for 3 years, and last year I had almost a career-threatening injury my own self and was out for an entire year, and nobody mentioned anything about me. And my whole career has been about being overshadowed by a smaller guy who's more entertaining than I am. And I want the spotlight. Yeah, it's an okay reason, but it ain't that great. It ain't something to put on a fucking pay-per-view. It's a one-on-one match that leads to really nothing all that important. That's what I see this match being. This is not Backlash pay-per-view quality match that should have been booked for us to be able to see on pay-per-view or WWE Network for 3 hours. I don't see that as being that kind of value. I honestly see this match as just something that should have just happened on SmackDown as if they were going to run a pay-per-view kind of quality SmackDown event for 2 hours. If they were going to do that and make that the main event, I could see that happening. But this being on a Backlash pay-per-view and being 3 hours, no. This should have been postponed to the end of May, and it would have helped give reason to Big Cass and Daniel Bryan rivaling with each other for a pay-per-view match. That's how I feel. And that's the truth. I mean, you gotta look at this. Daniel Bryan was number one. He set a fucking record that nobody will ever be able to set again. He lasted the longest of any performer in his career. Nobody else is ever gonna break that record. He was in there for he was in there for like an hour, and I think the pay-per-view, the match itself was an hour and 20 minutes. He was in there for an hour and 15. He broke the record of the longest Royal Rumble match, which was in 2006 by Rey Mysterio. He won it, though. Daniel Bryan didn't. That's another great statistic and great element to throw in there. Daniel Bryan and Big Cass didn't have anything mentioned about that. Daniel Bryan couldn't cut a promo the Go Home show. That's another thing that made no sense to me. Why didn't Daniel Bryan, which would have helped it out a lot more than what they fucking did, even with the way they scheduled this, they could have still savaged this fucking pathetic match they decided to put on for us, and throw out the whole thing that, hey, I was in the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time, 50-man Royal Rumble. I had the opportunity to make history, and you took that away from me. I was number one. You didn't even show up until near the end of the fucking Royal Rumble match itself. And you eliminated me while my back was turned, no less. And threw me out. You cost me an opportunity. It may have got me an opportunity in the main event of WrestleMania, but you cost me an opportunity to make history in WWE that probably will never be able to be accomplished again. And I'm going to get you for that at Backlash. That would have been a great thing for them to do. They didn't have to make Daniel Bryan wrestle. I know he had like a very bad bruise on his chest, and they didn't want him performing at the at SmackDown. They didn't have to. They could have just had him show up. Had him take off his shirt and say, "Look at my chest. I can't perform tonight or do anything because of what you did to me, or what I did in that Royal Rumble match with 49 other men. You cost me history. You cost me an opportunity to do something that probably will never be done again. And when I get you in the ring, I'm going to kick your ass." That is the best way they could have put this storyline together. They could have jumpstart this with an adrenaline push with that kind of promo. Not this bullshit with fucking this fucking bullshit with a fucking midget. What garbage. And that's why I can't stand watching WWE programming anymore. Roman Reigns, by the way, Daniel Bryan, I predict, will win this match hands down. There's no reason why he shouldn't. Alright, Carmella versus Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Carmella cashed in a fucked up way. Honestly, I think Carmella should have never won the damn title to begin with. And Carmella defending it against Charlotte Flair. I gotta say this, Charlotte Flair needs to win the title back. She needs to be a transitional champion, this broad, and just take the title off of her. She's no good to the SmackDown Women's title. Straight up. She is no use to them. And I honestly will back that up 100%. There ain't nothing more I have to say about this. There's nothing to this build. This was shit. The other great thing about this is Charlotte and Asuka and freaking Becky Lynch are teaming together against Carmella, Peyton Royce, and the other female chick that Peyton Royce is with. The Iconics. That's what their whole thing is centered around, 6 women tag teams, which we got before Carmella became champion or the Iconics showing up. Now we're getting it again with a new group of fucking bitches. What a load of bullshit. Carmella needs to lose the title. Charlotte Flair wins. That's what I believe should happen. Alright, next. Nia Jax defending the Raw Women's title against Alexa Bliss. Again, another women's match that means absolutely nothing to me, you, or anyone else who cares about professional wrestling. Now, to the next casual schmo who don't give a flying fuck about wrestling, just wants to see some load of bullshit thrown across their screen, just for the sake to say, look, I like WWE, and I love wrestling. Oh my god, but the company I like won't even state that it's professional wrestling. Get out of here. I get that you're a casual fan. You're a person that doesn't follow the fucking product on a consistent basis. But my god, have some dignity for yourself to want to actually watch something that has intelligence in it. Has a reason to build towards an event. To get you excited to want to watch this piece of shit. Because all this is to me is absolute garbage. I'll take NXT. I'll take Ring of Honor. I'll take New Japan Wrestling. Hell, I'll even take Impact Wrestling for all I care at this point. But WWE, man, the only reason why I fucking do this shit is because it gives me something to do in my free time. That's my reason why I'm doing this shit. Takes up some of my time because there's nothing to fucking watch on television, and I watch this shit. If there was something better to watch, I would. They got a pay-per-view going on, I'll watch those. I would be more than willing to watch a 3-hour event over sitting through 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, back to back, week after week. No fucking way, not anymore. I ain't doing that shit. I can't. I can't do that. It's too time consuming, and not to mention, way too many fucking commercials, and way too often do they put on a good match, and they put commercials in between, during the match itself. Fuck that shit. That's bullcrap. They used to have where they'd have commercials in between when a match, they'd have a commercial after the match ends, and when they get back, they put on another match. That's what they used to do, and that was because they weren't fucking grubby, greedy pigs for money. Fuck WWE in the way they do shit now. They can take it and shove it. Alright, next match. Seth Rollins versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Of course, if you think for any solitary second that The Miz is going to walk away the new Intercontinental Champion for a 9th time while he's on SmackDown, and there's already a title on SmackDown for the mid-card, you're crazy. Miz loses. Seth Rollins wins. There ain't nothing to even talk about. They didn't even produce anything for this. Nothing. The minute the shakeup happened and Miz was announced to be on SmackDown, there should have been him challenging for the U.S. title. Really, what we should be seeing for the U.S. title is a triple threat match with Jeff Hardy, The Miz, and Randy Orton. That's what we should be seeing. Or we should have seen The Miz face Seth Rollins one-on-one at the Greatest Royal Rumble. No fatal 4-way ladder match bullshit. We should have just seen a straight-up singles match, Seth Rollins versus The Miz. If you wanted to throw the ladder match in there for good use and entertainment fun for Saudi Arabia, then by all means, they could have done that too. But other than that, it should have just been Seth Rollins and The Miz at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and that should have been the case. If you're going to do a shakeup before Backlash, for God's sakes. Fucking retarded. And Seth Rollins, really, to be quite frank with you, shouldn't even be on this card at all after he defended his title against The Miz. And to be quite frank with you guys, let's even be more realistic with this and logical. Miz got his rematch. He was in a fatal 4-way ladder match. What the fuck does he need another match with Seth Rollins? There's no need for this Intercontinental title match to be happening on Backlash. Seth Rollins should be taking the night off. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton for the United States Championship, since we were talking about that before, with me saying that The Miz should be in this match with Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. This match is going to be a good one. I am really looking forward to this one. I mean, there's no heavy build to it. It's just a standard, straight-up one-on-one match for a title. And, I mean, sometimes that's okay. Quite frankly, even with two guys like Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton competing against each other, these two guys, you know what they're going to produce. They have a history together. They've competed over the WWE Championship before. They've had some kind of history one-on-one. So, we definitely have something to look forward to with this match. Whether they had any serious build or not, it was a decent rivalry they had. And I don't see that they can't build off of this and turn this into a rivalry again over the United States title for a month or two more. Maybe they could do a switch back and forth to keep the rivalry going. Maybe a disqualification where it leads to Randy Orton turning heel and ending up going back to his old days in 10 years ago when he was punting people's heads off. You know, you could do all kinds of stuff with this storyline because this could lead to a serious storyline rivalry between these two guys for the U.S. title. And I think that's something they should definitely do. It will give time for the title to build prestige off of a rivalry. And, I mean, Jeff Hardy having a big name to compete against again would be really good wonders for him as a single competitor that he is now. Alright, Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. Oh, God. Can somebody please, and if this is the main event, really, to be quite frank with you guys, I'm really getting tired of seeing Roman Reigns made the main event. He is just downright fucking sickening. Make him a heel, for God's sakes. Make him win the freaking Universal title already and get it over with. What is this long, stretched out, drawn out load of shit? What are they gaining out of this except making other people fucking sick to their stomachs and want to turn off the TV? I promise you one thing. If this is the main event, Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe, which, by the way, is just a rivalry matchup, when you got the WWE Championship, one of the top-notch belts outside of the Universal title, which is not on the line at this pay-per-view, it's just the WWE title of world title belts that are being defended. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura I better be seeing as the fucking main event. Because if I don't see that, after whatever match, the second to last match is, I'm turning off this damn show. I am not kidding. I am not sitting through Roman Reigns getting a main event show while he ain't even the damn champion. Fuck that. That's bullshit. We all know what's going to happen. Roman Reigns beats Samoa Joe. But here's the neat part. Samoa Joe is looking to want to challenge whoever wins out of the WWE title match. Let's be real here. That's what they're trying to do. They got Roman Reigns going out and saying, "Look, I'm the real Universal Champion. I got screwed out of the title because of a bad referee's call." This is all stupid. That's the key word to all of this. This is pure stupidity. This is pure dumb shit. There is no need to drag out Brock Lesnar's title reign. He is no longer a Universal Champion in my eyes. Quite frankly, Universal title you can go ahead and take and chuck it in the garbage and light that bitch on fire. Because that fucking belt don't mean shit anymore to me. After what they're putting that belt through with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, I don't even care. They were better off just giving the damn belt to Roman Reigns at the WrestleMania pay-per-view or Greatest Royal Rumble. At this point, this is just propaganda, load of stretched out bullshit that we don't need. Just give it to fucking Roman Reigns and get it over with. It's fucking sickening. Or, better yet, say Roman Reigns lost and move the fuck on with someone else to challenge Brock Lesnar so we get the damn belt off of him. If you're not going to give the belt to Roman Reigns, give it to somebody else. But don't drag it out. It's fucking stupid. Roman Reigns beats Samoa Joe. That's what I believe is going to happen, even though I don't want that to happen. I think Samoa Joe should win this match. He should walk out victorious because he is the legitimate guy that should be challenging whoever wins the WWE title. So, this leads us to our main event. Actually, at least in my eyes, and hopefully in everybody else's eyes, who's a wrestling fan, is not just one of these I want to suck Roman's cock fans. Because, quite frank with you, if you haven't seen what WWE is doing with Roman Reigns at this point, and if you were a fan at this point, you should get sick of him at this point. Because, quite frank with you, there is no reason to like Roman Reigns because he is a corporate puppet. He is a manufactured, made main event player. He is not legitimate, genuine, real. He's not real at all. There's nothing real about Roman Reigns whatsoever. You know what's real about Roman Reigns? When he goes out to the ring one day and he looks at the crowd and he tells them all to kiss his ass. When he starts rolling into the arena with a fucking gosh darn Rolex around his freaking wrist and he's wearing a suit and a tie. Because he's a corporate guy. He's not a fan wrestler. He is what the corporation of the company made him into. He's not legit. And he should be treated as such and make him a fucking bad guy. That's all there is to it. Make him a heel. That's all he needs. And he would be perfect within WWE's programming. He would give more value to the company. He would get what Vince McMahon wants. A real reaction. Not a reaction of boos because they just don't want to see him. They'll have a reason to hate his fucking guts because he'll be doing everything possible to screw over everybody they like. He would be the perfect Triple H. The perfect Ric Flair. Those kinds of things. That's his role. That's what he needs to play if the crowd can't stand his fucking guts. It's that simple. You got the whole thing set up for you, Vince, for you to have Roman Reigns get over in the way you want him to get over. You want the reaction to be the way the reaction should be. Well, him playing a heel would be the best way possible because they don't like him. So give them what they want. A reason not to like him. It's that simple. Not to mention, when I see Roman Reigns, like I said before in this preview, I see an asshole. I do not see a nice guy. I see that in John Cena. I see that in, some other guys. Seth Rollins is a good face character. He plays both roles actually very well. He's one of the few people that can play both roles and get over well either way. Kevin Owens would play great as a good guy character. They've never given him that opportunity. If they made Roman Reigns a heel, Kevin Owens a face, the fans would love Kevin Owens. They love him now, even playing a fucking dick. It would be the perfect setup. Those two would have a series of great matchups all throughout the entire year. You could use those guys for the whole fucking year if you wanted to. But that's not here or there. On to the WWE Championship match. It's no disqualification. AJ Styles champion going in against Shinsuke Nakamura. We got a thing going on with Samoa Joe, as I already mentioned, that he's interested in challenging for the WWE Championship after this pay-per-view ends. He wants to challenge any which one of them wins this match. Well, in all honesty, you can't have Shinsuke Nakamura. You gotta have Shinsuke Nakamura win this match. It wouldn't make sense for Shinsuke Nakamura to face Samoa Joe one-on-one. And it wouldn't make sense to have Shinsuke Nakamura thrown to the side when he's getting over as a heel. So, truthfully, this needs to build into a triple threat match. Shinsuke Nakamura needs to win the title from AJ Styles, AJ Styles needs to request a rematch with Shinsuke Nakamura, throwing his rematch clause in as being a champion at one point. And Samoa Joe, since he has the credentials to say he is the number one contender because he is one of the hottest guys right now, momentum-wise, in the company, you got to give him the title shot too, making it a triple threat. So that's what I see them doing here. So I think that's the perfect thing for them to do. So yes, I honestly think that Shinsuke Nakamura needs to win this matchup to have Samoa Joe have legitimate right to be involved with the title, also not throwing Shinsuke Nakamura out of the picture, and AJ Styles being thrown in so that there's not a heel versus heel rivalry going on at the same time. We get a face versus heel type deal for a triple threat match. So that's my overall opinion about this show. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't make a damn difference because WWE's programming is absolute shit. I thank you very much for watching this long, drawn-out preview and predictions video. And leave your comments and opinions down below what you guys thought about what I had to say on this show. And I thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.